Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.
The first slap was like this.
Shitting bricks before doing that. And then he was like, why don't you just slap me once so I don't feel that bad?
After having shot that scene, I believed that I had spoiled it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Anubhav, Taapsee, first of all, congratulations on Thappad. It's a very moving, very powerful film. And I want to talk to the two of you about what it was like to create it. I want to tell everyone this is a spoiler-filled conversation. So whoever hasn't seen this film needs to go away right now because I'll get just trolled for ruining their experience.
Yeah.
What I found most interesting was that when we first meet your character, Amrita, she's happy in her life. She's satisfied in the rituals of domesticity, which you take great pains to show us. The tea making and the checking on the mother-in-law and the watering the plants. Why was this important? Why was it important for her to be a housewife who's happy from an affluent family in Delhi?
Because even if I have chosen a life with you where I am the second one, even then it's not acceptable. So if the two of us are running the house, see, it eventually boils down to who's getting the paycheck.
Because it doesn't get more submissive than that.
Yeah, even then it's not acceptable.
Right.
So that's the reason why the answer to this is probably, now that you have spoilers in this, the last scene between the maid and the husband, where she says, I don't want to work. I want to be a housewife. You go get the money, I'll run the entire house within that money. She was doing it to help him, but still getting beaten up every day.
Right.
So, it is about a happy housewife who's happy to be a housewife.
Yeah. But the slap is not part of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never was, yeah.
Yeah. So, Taapsee, this is of course a character far removed from
Yeah.
who we know you as.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? She's
I'm
so
happy
docile.
finally people are saying that after seeing the film, because whenever it comes to women and women related issues and shades, and it's like yet another time.
ये तो करेगी ही.
ये तो करेगी ही.
Right.
So thank God you say that now.
No, she's completely, and in a very nice way. Not like you're playing her as a victim. She's just she's made peace with. She's chosen it.
Yeah, that's her choice.
That's her choice. How long did it take for you to get into the head of this character?
Since the time I got the first draft of the script, I went through it, cried, went back to sir with my notes, asked him my questions, got answers to a few, got the next draft again. So my mind starts working the moment I read it, because it was a given I'm doing it.
Acha.
It was, yeah, that's how it
वो
was.
तो था ही.
Yeah. I mean, that in air, literally in air, in the plane, when he told me that, we should, why a film is not made on this one line, that a good husband slaps the wife and she calls it quits. I said, I'm doing it. And then it was up to him whenever he wants to make it. So he sent the script, and I was already imagining it with me doing it. So whenever I read the script I know I'm always imagining it, how I'm saying this and doing this. So it was, with every successive draft, it just started becoming clearer and clearer how I'm going to do this. And then sir was like, the biggest task for both of us is to rip off that image of that firebrand
Correct.
person I am.
Yeah, I shouldn't think of that at all, right? Yeah.
Because whenever I said, okay, the next film is Thappad, the next question is, who are you hitting this time? So I'm like, okay, no, I'm not. I'm getting hit this time. So it's people just laugh it off.
Right.
They don't believe it.
Yeah.
So that's what the thing is. So basically, maybe it was a challenge for me also to show that the most unexpected woman can also probably go through it. That's probably a challenge for me to put myself into her shoes and perform it. Then otherwise, it's a cakewalk, right? I, as a woman, feel strongly about women issues, and presenting them probably becomes easier because I'm too passionate about them.
It comes naturally.
Yeah. But when this is that one challenge for me, to make myself so submissive that I don't identify with. My audience has never seen me like this, and yet make them weep and cry with me, and make them feel that I am that submissive who will not hit back. So yeah, that's the challenge that we both were struggling with, and every shot we were making sure Taapsee doesn't come out of it. Yeah.
Tell me about the fact that the whole plot hinges on the one slap. Was there ever a conversation that should it be more?
No. There is more, in the sense that one big thing to me that happens is her decision to seek divorce.
Right.
And the second is that her discovery that she is pregnant.
No, but to give more reason, was that ever, did you ever think like,
No,
is
no,
this
no,
enough?
no. That the core. So before I write a script, I always write 2 to 3 points why I'm making this film, and it had to be trivial in the
In the-
existing
correct.
perspective.
In the
Life is
establishment's
world,
view.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the existing perspective, it had to be trivial. And I needed people to feel that she was taking it too far, she was overdoing it, and stuff like that. And I needed the man to be a good man in the existing perspective, that he's well-to-do, looks after his wife whenever she's upset, he buys her gifts, she takes her out for dinners, all of that.
Correct. He plays the role.
He plays the part. But even then, it's not acceptable.
But Anubhav, you seed his character very cleverly. There's the one scene where he sees Dia Mirza's character driving away in a car and he says, "Ye kya karti hai?"
Ah,
And that reveals so much about him.
yeah.
You know, so he's
An
not
average man.
absolutely.
Around, right?
He's your average entitled Indian male.
Yeah.
And if there's a woman who's successful, perhaps as or more successful
Yeah.
than him, there's instantly, but ye kya karti?
Go on, drugs
Exactly.
drugs
You
का
know?
business होगा इसका.
Or wrong means to earn money in any other way.
Correct. He makes a little judgment.
Yes, yes. And then when
You
I
know?
say mehnat, it's like it was a satisfying thing to even say out that line, that one word mehnat, because you hear that as a working woman all the time from people around,
कि
right?
मर्सिडीज में कैसे चलती है?
Yeah.
Correct.
मेहनत करती है.
Right.
Every working woman has heard this.
Yeah. But you know what was interesting also is that the film is very clear that women perpetuate the patriarchy as much as the men do. You know, the mother-in-law are the people telling her that, you know, bardasht karna seekh lo.
Yeah.
Why was this important?
Because this is as normal as the things that the men are doing. Because we are told that, like how you were discussing, my mother still tells me, ek chup so sukh.
Yeah.
She's been telling me this since I was a kid, and I used to keep getting angry, and she used to hate me for that. Hate is probably a very strong word, but she used to keep telling me and comparing me to other cousins of mine who were very docile and never raised their voice or questioned them for, you know, why I should do this or I should not. Because as a girl, you don't ask these many questions or you don't question the norms. And that's what we've been, I don't know why I had this whole rebel streak as a kid, but most of my cousins didn't, and I've grown up in the similar kind of household. So this is how it comes into us, and after some time we accept it as a part of our DNA and we live with it, we practice it, and then we forward it to the next generation. And once Sir mentioned it, and it just resonated so well, that an oppression is an oppression only till the person who's getting oppressed is calling it out and not liking it and standing against it. Once the person who's getting oppressed calls it out, doesn't call it out and says it's okay, chalta hai, let's move on, then it becomes normalized.
Right.
So we have normalized it because we have just been accepting it and it's okay.
Yeah.
So we are equally to be blamed in this whole thing. So
Absolutely.
we might have to take the first step. We can't do it without men also, you know, making that change. But we have to probably start saying it's not okay.
Also, we burden her with this extra glorified term called homemaker. Even if you get the paycheck, you're not the homemaker. You're the financier. So if her job is of making the home, so if she breaks it, she's failing. He's not. So keeping the family intact is only her responsibility.
Absolutely.
The onus is on her.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. This is in our DNA. This is in your DNA. And you're so scared of rocking the boat. Because
Homebreaker is also
homebreaker man नहीं होता कभी.
Correct.
नहीं होता.
Woman होती है.
Yeah.
But you know, what is wonderful is that no one's a villain. Right? This is not some stereotypical mother-in-law saying, "Koi fark nahi padta, my son is the best."
Yeah.
It's not that character. The mother is also sympathetic but concerned and advising her to do what's, you know, the path of least resistance. Mat karo yaar, don't rock the boat.
Don't disrupt.
Don't
Yeah.
disrupt. And the man, like you said, is doing all that he thinks a man should be doing. How hard was it to retain this humanity of every character?
It wasn't hard. We just had to be careful. So there are certain lines in the film which, like we were just discussing, will not be abnormal in another movie. But when you sit down to watch Thappad, you know it is about, if nothing, at least misogyny. So the film starts with the dialogue कि यार तुम्हारा इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा यार, तो घर में जो भी चीज़ नहीं चल रही होती है, because she is the homemaker,
वो उसकी
होती है, प्रिंटर नहीं चल रहा तो वो उसका है. So these were the lines that we have used from everyday lives, which men use. एक बहुत बड़ी उनकी फेमस लाइन होती है जो मुझसे मिस हो गई फिल्म में नहीं है, आई विश आई हैड पुट इट, कि छोटा थोड़ी हो जाऊंगा, मैं तुम्हारे की जगह कोई काम कर दूंगा. तो वो औरत रेजिस्ट करती, नहीं रुक जाना मैं करती हूँ ना, तो कहता है छोटा थोड़ी हो जाऊंगा, मतलब
right.
वो छोटी है तुम बड़े हो, वो काम छोटा है तुम बड़े काम करते हो. सो लाइक इन वन सीन विद हर ही सेज के जब अपनी शादी मैंने खुद कोई शर्त रखी थी क्या, फूडी हूँ मैं, फूडी,
और तुमको तो
खाना पकाना नहीं आता. अच्छा, so you know, so we chose these lines and you know use them, which in the right perspective are funny and ironic, but they were also fun. So I used to laugh at these lines. As a director, I would be in a corner, I'll be laughing when every time he said, "Foodie hu main, Anu, foodie." She was also laughing.
It's very difficult for me to control his straight face. I had to look at him and not feel like it's stupidly funny.
He has to be slapped, huh? As
foodie hu main. And I like this entitlement of, you know, that I did this in spite of you having this problem.
Correct.
Or
Absolutely.
for that matter, you know, I allowed you to be. Or I allowed you to, you know, just live your life.
कितना बड़ा दिल है मेरा. Yeah.
So yeah.
But you know, so much of it rings true, like the little things, right? Like he says, I'll make tea for his mother. And of course, he doesn't know where the tea leaves are. That's just, I was like, oh my God, this is every Indian man ever. You know, how many would know where the tea leaves are? So it just, where did things like that come from? Did you guys sort of take it from life?
No, it was written. I mean, so he knows what a good liberal man is.
Right.
But he doesn't know how to be one.
He's posturing.
Yeah, he's posturing. So he doesn't even know how to open that pack. And
then he gets so mad.
But he knows he has to tell his mother that, no, I'll make the tea.
Correct.
He doesn't know how to test her blood sugar. But he thinks a good man should do it. So he's trying to be a good man. But unfortunately, he's not trained to be a good man.
Yeah. Tell me about staging the slap. I read that Pavel was very nervous. It took 7, retakes. What was it like? And what were you trying to do in that? Because it's you also make sure that it's a very it feels like, okay, this could happen. It's not like he planned to slap her. She pulled and he was losing it and he did it. You know, that was also, of course, by design to make him look less culpable. You know, what was it like to actually do it?
I think that was the only scene we actually rehearsed, right?
Yeah, and we were looking forward to and we waited for.
Yeah, and then we came before time to even stage it, unlike any other scene of the film where we just went and did it. So this was something that we all were very conscious of, that it should look like it has come out of nowhere. So that we did.
Even the writing of it, I remember I had personally, when I had told Mrunmayee the story and I had seen a lot of it in my head, I had seen it as a home party, like 4 friends over types. But when Mrunmayee wrote it and came back to me, it was a bigger affair and there were more people. So the first reaction was of resistance because I thought that would make him too inconsiderate. But a little later I settled into it and I agreed with her. And the reason that he had this work stress and actually, poor guy, he was going through a bad moment.
He was, of course.
He threw a party. There were people dancing and he's told, no, we are taking it away from you.
Right.
But you still don't hit your wife, is the point, which is what that his boss tells him later. That, would you have hit me? So, I mean, the staging included his mental state, because even he's hitting her for the first time. So, his mental state to go to that level, that's the reason why the stakes were raised from the very beginning, that he's preparing a presentation and he'll get hurt as much as that he would hit her. So that was the emotional staging of it. The physical staging was simpler, but Pavel wouldn't hit her. The first slap was like this.
Shitting bricks before doing that. And then he was like, why don't you just slap me once so I don't feel that bad? I was like, this is not the deal. You have to just slap, and please, I was requesting, please do it properly, otherwise we'll have to keep doing it.
But why did you have to do it 7 times?
Because he wouldn't slap me properly in the beginning, and then one hit me really hard, but then it didn't look hard on camera. So it looked like a very chota sa slap. So sir said, इसमें impact नहीं आ रहा है. I felt the impact, but उनको नहीं आ रहा था. So then we went again, because eventually if that doesn't look impactful, then the entire thing fails.
No, but actually now I don't feel like that. The first time I saw it with people was in Delhi. And the moment he slaps you, there was a certain sound in the theatre, and then there was silence. All the way through the walk, though the background score kicks in, but I could hear the silence of the... So I don't think it was as physical as that. Well, maybe it was, but it is the conceptual impact of it.
Right. Yeah.
So it took us a little while to make sure that we are keeping enough options so that the...
Slap options.
On the contrary, the other couple, they hit each other like 20 times each. The maid.
Right.
And they were like, oh man. I had to go and give them a hug right after the shot.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Because they beat each other up.
Yeah,
Big
that
time.
was tough. Yeah. Tell me, one of my favorite scenes in the film is of course, the puja one, where you finally sort of speak your mind and you tell the family that it was really unfair and that you won't forgive them for not even coming to check on you. On that. Now, tell me, and at that scene, I feel like really puts it out there and really kind of opens everybody's eyes, even the guys who might be on the fence with like, is it really, kya hua? Just forget about it type of, that really just puts a wrench into your stomach and, turns it.
Yeah.
Tell me, how hard was that to write and to enact?
So I call it the Karan Johar scene.
Yeah, that's the underlining scene.
In what
of
way?
The film.
I mean, Karan takes it to another level.
Yeah.
But they're well-dressed women, one puja going on, and people crying, and all of that. That's his domain.
Yeah.
So when I wrote it, I was reasonably aware that this was a little outside of the grain of the rest of the film, and I was right, because when I showed it to my director friends, at least one violently wanted that scene out of the film. He said, Anubhav, you've said it all. You don't need to say it again. And I thought I needed to underline it, and I need to serve it to you, because you haven't seen it in 5,000 years. So maybe I should just put it in your face. So that way it was a difficult. That scene was about, as a writer or even as a director, I had to make some difficult choices. I was very, very aware that I was stepping outside the grain of the film, but I didn't want to go so far that it becomes melodramatic, because those scenes you have seen in on television or even in a lot of Surajji's films, and it's not. It is. I think it is the non-dramatic approach to it that is fresh and new, that you like it. So, and now these are very tangible, non-tangible, intangible things. You can't mark that now it is good enough, and there's no way. You have to go by instinct. And these days, when you're looking at it, the monitor, there are more faces around you, and you can see their reactions, and you don't want to get affected by them. So in that manner, it was very difficult. But I somehow had it in my head, and she got the sur right from the first. I think we did only 2 takes, right?
Yeah. One was, as we call it, the cheesy one, and the other one was like the more controlled one. Decided to do.
So this was my cheese scene of this film.
Right. But not. I feel it fits in completely.
Yeah.
And I think that is where you really sort of, when you see the mother-in-law, when you see the mother, that's when it really kind of hits you what the stakes are and what she's fighting
same
for.
Here, even me as an audience,
Yeah.
I want that scene.
Me too.
Yeah, because I want I want that any underlining required for something I might have missed or maybe I've assumed. I don't mind getting it underlined. As an audience, I would have liked to see such a scene,
Yeah.
you know, like a summation of sorts, because she's not spoken much before that.
Yeah.
It's she's only conveyed whatever she could from her reactions. So this was the first time actually she speaks up and says all that's been running in her head post slap. So for me, it was like the one scene I was waiting to perform. I remember when I did that, I was like, I think the film is over for me now, because we had done the critical stuff, and that was the most critical, I thought, for me, because apart from the
It
fact,
is.
yeah.
If you had faltered in that scene,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wouldn't have hit home in the way that it does.
But it's written so well.
It's very well.
I was also very scared of shooting that scene, and I never told this to anybody, but after having shot that scene, I believed that I had spoiled it.
Huh?
Yeah,
You spoiled it?
I feel like this happened to me in an article also for one scene, and even in this film, I was sure that I had ruined it. And in my mind, I was prepared to shoot it again. But then Yasha saw it at the edit. Yasha is my editor, and she said, "No, sir, it's looking fine. It's working," and all of that. And slowly, then I went and saw it, and it seemed fine. But this scene I was very worried about. So far, all my friends, only one person, one director friend, who has said that you don't need this scene. But a person who's known to be more subtle and art house has said, no, you have to have this scene. So then again, it became difficult for me.
Yeah.
But general opinion was, no, don't touch it. So I told Vishal Bhardwaj's son, like he watched it with his father. So all the discussion happened. He was very angry that Asman, that the guy wasn't apologizing. He said, he isn't apologizing.
Yeah, he doesn't apologize till very late.
Yeah, doesn't even realize that he hasn't
He doesn't.
apologized.
He's whining about his own headache.
Yeah.
Then I asked him end of it. I said, that puja scene. So I remember he was sitting to the left of me, and he said, what about it? I said, do you think we need it? Haven't we said it all before? What? So he got angry with me again. So I said, okay, we'll have it.
But Anubhav, clearly Mulk, Article 15, Thappad, you're on a roll. Taapsee, what is he smoking?
I really don't
I've
know.
quit smoking.
Tell me, what is your insight into the evolution of
I have
him?
only seen this side of his.
Right.
Since the time I've known him personally. But before that, I will have been an audience to catch the Tumbin.
Right.
Right. Since the time I've known him, it's been this version of his.
2.0.
So, yeah, 2.0. So I really don't know that person at all as a person.
It's the same person, yeah.
I don't know, sir. I have only known you this way.
So I'll tell you who will give you the best answers to this.
Huh.
Sudhir Mishra,
Huh.
Anurag Kashyap, Saurabh Shukla, Manoj Bajpayee. These are the people I was close to just before I got into making movies. So they don't get surprised. Timanshu Dhulia, they don't get surprised by this.
They knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. They knew I was doing something else. That wasn't me. This is what they tell me. Like Sudhir Bhai being the most articulate one in trying to sort of explain it to you. So he smiles. Every time I'm being asked this question, he smiles. Also, I've started spending much more time with him now.
Well, we're glad 2.0 has arrived,
Yeah.
right, Taapsee?
Yeah, very glad.
Whether he was always there or it's a new
Yeah,
thing.
it's on paper,
But,
it's
it's
on
too much
screen
pressure,
now. We are happy to see that on screen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and once again, congratulations.
Thank
on
you.
Thappad.
Thank you, Anupama.
Hi guys, we are here talking to Anu about our film that released, Thappad, that released recently. Go watch it in theatres, and for all the fun and experience that happened behind the camera, watch this interview. And if you like it, please subscribe to Film Companion.